Chapter 152. To enter the party, one had to have their identification checked, a precautionary procedure. There were countless people either might have bumped into during the party, or perhaps something was planted in the carriage he had arrived in. Mulling over the potential factors, Uther glared at the distant face of Prince Castian, who was laughing away. Strangely, he kept saying we shouldn't leave the dead as a spectacle, that we should collect the corpse as soon as possible. Maybe he was trying to handle it before the poison could be detected. Uther had made up his mind. He decided to investigate the individuals who collected Lenore's corpse, the servant who had been arrested for bringing the poison cup, and the carriage Lenore had arrived in. There was no time to inspect everything within an hour. Seems like there's nothing else to read into. Is there anything else that I could help? Uther pushed back the hand that Kana extended towards him, a shard wrapped in her handkerchief. Kana, you keep it. Then what about you, Uther? I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. Uther calmly lied. Thankfully, Kana did not seem to detect any peculiarities from him and nodded her head. He then naturally walked towards the hallway where the restroom was. The few guards standing watch quickly dismissed him as an ordinary guest after a brief glance. But someone coming out from the restroom didn't. What are you? You followed me again? Oh. Before Keol, who widened his eyes in surprise, could complete his sentence, Uther covered his mouth and gripped the back of his hand, swiftly propelling them both into the deserted hallway. He had been planning to find Keol when he had a chance. So it was a stroke of good luck for him and quite the opposite for Keol. Quiet. I will have you know I'm not stalking you. You just happen to run into each other. I have some questions. If you answer them, I'll let you go. If you understand, blink 3 times. As Keol, a knight, despite his circumstances, had considerable strength, it was a bit challenging for Uther to subdue him with sheer force. So he pinned him to the floor and twisted his neck slightly, swiftly stating his intent. After a moment, Keol's struggling gradually ceased, and his dark, deep-set eyes blinked precisely 3 times in the dim light. Uther slowly removed his hand that was pressing Keol down. You, a cavalry, dare to? Keol grumbled with a face that showed he was dying to curse but could not due to the vow he made. What do you want to ask me? I have taken an unfair vow with you, but I won't do anything that could harm my family. I have nothing to do with Lenore Shan Apeto's death, so I don't know anything you're going to. I see. So this incident is indeed Prince Castian's doing. Thanks for telling me even before I asked. How did you know? As usual, his stupidity remained intact, blurting out pertinent information before even being asked. Keol's mouth fell open in surprise as he received Uther's words of gratitude. You knew that His Highness the Crown Prince was involved. Could it be that even Duke Paleta? You don't need to know that. Anyway, has the Diarca family only sent you today? Surely that can't be the case. Surely not. What do you mean by that? Keol, sharply counter-questioning while glaring at Uther, soon gritted his teeth and turned his head away. I came with my 3rd older brother today. The only Diarca family's offspring that Uther remembered was Chiron the Diarca, who would later become the next Duke of Diarca. Uther didn't know about Keol's existence in the past, so there was no way he could remember his 3rd older brother. So, the 3rd and Keol, not the successor. It seems to confirm that Diarca didn't anticipate this happening. It was rather significant that Crown Prince Kachdian had carried out this operation on his own without the knowledge of Diarca, his backer. At least in his previous life, he had never contradicted Diarca or acted alone until he became emperor. What caused this sudden change? Was it influenced by the fact that they couldn't cause any significant damage to the cavalry during the entire festival period, as Kishir speculated? Yudhir gazed down at Keol, deep in thought. Perhaps it was his third brother who had informed Keol that the crown prince had meddled. After Lenor's death and during the short, chaotic time when everyone was heading to the first floor, it seemed necessary to find out what happened between Diarca and Kashtian. Diarca claimed to have no connection with this incident. That's right. Then I would appreciate an explanation. What happened? You're treating me like a mere underling. If it has nothing to do with the Diarca family, you can speak. If you tell me just this, I will let you go. Keol, his face distorted, glared at Yudhir, gasping for breath for a long while. But in the end, as if realizing he was the weaker party in the situation, he gritted his teeth and began to speak. We didn't know the situation when that bastard Lenore had just died. After descending to the first floor, my third brother told me he had received a rebuke from the crown prince's attendant. He said it had something to do with the crown prince, and he would handle it and inform our father later. So, for today, we should refrain from rash actions and go back. That's all there is to it. Let me go now. Get off me, you're too heavy. Keol, gasping for breath, managed to slightly lift his upper body after prying off Yudhir's hand on his neck. That's when it happened. Hey, who's there? Someone shouted from not far away, as if having heard Keol's voice. Damn. There was no time to flee elsewhere, so there was only one option left. Yudhir suppressed Keol, who was struggling to get out from under him, and feigned calmness. What are you two doing? Two soldiers running with lanterns looked at Keol, who was lying on the floor behind the statue, and Yudhir, who was on top of him, with very odd expressions. Thanks to Keol's intense struggling, their formal attire was disheveled, which fortunately eliminated the need for any other pretenses. It was not unusual to find nobles entangled in a corner of a garden or a corner during a party due to the influence of alcohol and the atmosphere. Taking full advantage of their misunderstanding, Yudhir covered Keol's face, which looked as if he might scream at any moment, with his hand, and opened his mouth to speak. There is no need for you to know. Judging by your esteemed faces, you shouldn't be here. Leave at once. Yes, understood. However, this is the Imperial Palace. Please leave soon. The soldiers, with a look of annoyance, retreated. Yudhir only rose to his feet after their presence completely vanished. As he casually straightened his clothing, Keol, who had been turned a mixture of red and blue, managed to stand with the help of a wall. You, this. I did tell you to keep quiet. Are you blaming me? Of course, it's your fault. What an act of pretense! Upon receiving Yudhir's cold gaze, Kishir sharply drew his breaths, clenching and unclenching his fists. Anyway, I have heard everything I need to. As promised, now I'm leaving. Where are you going? Yudhir didn't answer and turned away. He planned to head underground first. However, not long after, he quickened his pace. He stopped. He felt the surprised halt of Keol, who had been following behind him. Stop following me, Keol the Diarca. Why should I? You kidnapped me, so I have to see what suspicious deeds you are up to in the Imperial Palace. Had this foolish boy already forgotten the trouble he faced in Harton when he was dealing with Apeto's people? Udir sighed and looked around. If he could find something small enough to just toss, he intended to knock Kiol unconscious immediately. However, he was unable to fulfill his intention again. Just as he was about to throw a button he had torn from his former clothes at Keyhole, whose pupils were beginning to tremble as if he sensed something, footsteps were heard nearby. The moment he hid behind a pillar, several men in servant clothes appeared. "We have taken care of the one who moved the cup as you ordered. It took longer than expected. He wasn't easy to kill. He was full of bluster, so it took some time to confirm and then deal with him. What a fool. He should have just followed orders instead of being anxious and greedy. That's why he ended up like this." They had taken care of the one who moved the cup. Were they talking about the servant who was taken away? Udir's senses were on high alert. "Have you found Apeto's servant? Did he seem to know anything?" He almost collapsed when he heard his master had passed. It seems like Apeto did not tell anyone and came alone, as promised. "Good. Now you go and report to His Highness." Yes. As expected, there were servants following Crown Prince Kashtian. Udir watched one of the 5 servants quickly disappear in another direction. His breath held. "Now then, where is the body of Apeto?" "It's over here. Please follow me." Since they had already killed the servant who moved the cup, one of the 3 things Udir wanted to investigate was already gone. At least they shouldn't be allowed to search Lenore Sean Apeto's body and destroy evidence first. Udir imbued the button he had prepared to knock the keyhole with wind power and forcefully threw it at the servants.